I'm not gonna lie to you, when I say I was probably like this close to chickening out of going travelling, but here I am doing a video being like how I made the decision to go travelling and how I overcame self doubt. I think, first of all, like saying, although I know I've used this in the title, saying overcome self doubt is sometimes a little bit off because I feel that even when you've like made a decision and stuff, it's probably like really natural to still have like self doubt and stuff. I admit I still do, but I think it's more about realistically kind of managing that self doubt and going along with the decision, even if you doubt it, if you feel like that's like the right decision for you. But anyway, enough yapping, and yeah, let's get into it. So, the first thing that I did when kind of making the decision was I sort of like tried to think about what I wanted rather than what I thought other people wanted me to do or what I thought I should be. So that was kind of a little bit sort of tricky because sometimes it's hard to know like what you really want sometimes. And I guess I kind of felt that that was what I'd wanted because I had this sort of gut feeling or sort of like urge almost to go travelling since I was about sort of 17, but I kept putting it off. So I know when I was sort of in sixth form, I was like, oh, I really want to go travelling before going to uni, and then obviously I didn't go. And then when I went to uni, I was thinking of doing a year abroad, and I could have, but I chose not to. And like looking back, I'm like, why? But at the same time, it's alright because instead I am still going to be travelling and I'm going to be seeing more than one country, and I don't have to study. Although, of course, like I feel that anyone going travelling for an extended period is likely to learn an awful lot, which is something I'm really excited for. And then, yeah, after uni, I was like, well, might take a year out to go travelling, but again, you put things off. But I think because I'd sort of felt that I'd wanted to go travelling for so long, it did feel like the right thing. So I was like, yeah, actually, I think I do want to go travelling. And then the next thing I kind of did to kind of advance the likelihood of me actually making the decision was I just looked at a lot of stuff online. Now, I know that sort of sounds very vague at the moment, but for example, if you've got Pinterest, then you know exactly what I mean. But oh my goodness, the amount of amazing photos on Pinterest I just sort of saw, and I was like, oh my goodness, I really want to go there. I really want to go there, and so on. So I did make like a bit of a vision board at the time. Now I know obviously on Pinterest they're likely to be like picture perfect photos and everything, and I'm sure realistically, however beautiful a place is or and whatever, I'm sure there's also sort of downsides and stuff. But yeah, Pinterest is incredibly inviting, or at least pictures on there are. And then also I just engaged with a lot of like, I don't know, travel influencers, people posting travel content and stuff. And yeah, it kind of happened by accident because I'd sort of see one thing and that would just like lead me to seeing something else and then something else and so on. I think that's just because of how like the algorithm on like Instagram works, which for once was a positive because I'm used to looking at so much rubbish like on Instagram and like on social media generally. So it was nice to actually just see sort of travel content for a change, I guess. And then yeah, the next thing which kind of helped me in like making the decision was just by talking to people who were sort of positive about it. So I'd say all my friends have just been like really supportive, which is really great. And then I also spoke to someone I'm close to who has been solo travelling before, and they were just like, yeah, it's fine. It's actually really nice. And then they were like, yeah, it's a good point of your life to go and it's becoming more popular. And I think they just kind of gave me like the sort of nudge to actually go myself, which was really helpful. And I think if it hadn't been from if it hadn't been for sort of encouragement from others, be it people I know or just stuff online really, I probably would have definitely chickened out, because I'd have been like, well, no one else is doing it, no one else thinks it's cool. And I know that's like quite a sort of insecure thing to say, but I just want to kind of be honest. So there you go. And then, yeah, the final sort of step was just kind of trying to plan actually going travelling. So the first thing I did was I just kind of thought about what I wanted to actually get out of travelling. The obvious being that I wanted to see new places, experience new places, meet new people, have a year in my life where I don't have to go to school, I don't have to be at uni, and I don't have to do the 9 to 5 as well, which is the big thing now. So that was probably a big reason why I was like, yeah, F it, I'm just going to go travelling. But then also, because I did study PPE like at uni, and I'm kind of interested in sort of NGOs and charities, I did want to volunteer abroad. So I looked into placements that A, looked good and looked sort of beneficial, B, that I was interested in, and C, looked legit, basically. Now, I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent, but I won't waffle forever, because I'm probably going to do like another video on this where I cover it in more detail. But I am aware that volunteering abroad can definitely have its ups and downs, unfortunately. So I think if you pick like a good place and you pick something that you're interested in, and something that where you sort of feel that you can use your skills and whatever, then you can definitely have, you know, a positive impact, and you can have a good time as well. But there are some sort of issues with some placements. So for example, some will sort of send people to, say, I don't know, hypothetically, look after really ill animals or something like that, basically. And I mean, obviously if someone's experienced or has knowledge about, say, veterinary, for instance, they'd probably be really, really great at it. But sometimes volunteers can be kind of underqualified for that, which isn't great, really. And then as well, I'm aware that some companies can kind of charge an awful lot. Like, I understand like paying like, you know, a good amount to volunteer abroad, because obviously sort of social enterprises and NGOs kind of need that in order to be able to run like the work that they do. But I had noticed like there were some which were for like a month, and they were like north of £4,000. Just as an example, and it's like, that is an awful lot of money, and yeah, it just sort of seemed a bit weird. And then I also am aware that there's the issue of some people going in and kind of displacing locals from what they're already doing, or just people going in and not necessarily understanding like local culture and customs. So I'm not being like, rah, I'm volunteering abroad on a gap year or anything like that. It's just more something that I've kind of wanted to do. But yeah, I guess the sort of main point is, do something that you do genuinely want to do and that you're sort of interested in, and make sure the program doesn't look like a scammer. And, you know, if they're sort of transparent and stuff, then it's probably going to be great. But yeah, I'd just say do a bit of research, because yeah, otherwise there can be kind of issues, I guess. But anyway, that's the tangent over for today. I will cover that more in another sort of video. But anyway, the next thing I thought about is, after I'd got like a couple of sort of placements, I guess you can call them that, or I'm not really sure what the right word is. After I'd like secured a couple of months of volunteering abroad, one being in Bali and the other being in Cambodia, I kind of had to think about where else I wanted to go as well as those places. My problem is that I wanted to sort of see everywhere and do everything, but realistically, I knew that that would have been impossible. So initially I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go to every country in Europe, and then I'm going to go like around all these places in Asia and so on. But one, it would give me like a couple of days in each country, which I feel I just wouldn't be getting like the most out of travelling by doing that. And then it would also be stressful too. So I kind of narrowed it down a lot to where I'm actually going. So in Europe, I'm literally mainly going to Croatia and Greece, and then I'm literally going to Bali afterwards. And yeah, again, I'm aware that Bali is experiencing over tourism and stuff, which again is something I'm likely to cover in another video. But it's with the organisation I'm working with in Bali. It's with a social enterprise called Think Pacific, and local businesses and local communities go to them for support rather than them sort of stepping in. So yeah, it's going to be like quite an interesting experience going there, and after the experience I'm definitely going to like make a video or something about it, because yeah, it's really exciting. And to be honest as well, I'm not 100% sure what exactly to expect, considering Bali is facing so much like tourism and issues relating to that, but then also like they've got, you know, a really unique culture, and you know they do have sort of good like independently run businesses too. So yeah, that'll be a video for another day. But yeah, I think I just sort of decided where else I'd go, mainly on from practicality in the end, rather than which country do I want to go to. Because I guess if I was trying to think, oh, what country looks most amazing, I just would never have been able to make up my mind. But Croatia and Greece are really pretty, and then yeah, after Cambodia, it'll be Australia for a bit, because you have to sort of see family and it's nearby, which kind of makes sense. So yeah, and then that's kind of how I did make the decision really. I've still got like planning and stuff to do. I still have not bought everything. I've certainly not even began packing. Like I've not even like began moving my stuff out of where I'm currently living, which is something I'm gonna have to do within the next couple of weeks. But yeah, everything's just like really kind of up in the air, and it does sort of feel like a little bit strange, because it's like I'm literally living in a place where I've lived in for like almost 4 years now, and all of a sudden I'm just going to be like travelling for like a year basically. So it just feels like a weird sort of position to kind of be in. Now the next video is going to be about how I overcame self-doubt, and I'm just going to go into that sort of more deeply, because yeah, this is basically the first of like a two-parter with it, but the self-doubt video will literally be coming in a couple of days after.